We had a deodorant brand that we worked with, and we had a minute 10 version of an ad and a 30-second version of an ad. The same ad, same actors, same concept, same everything. The one was just 30-second version, the other was a minute version. The 1 minute version got 10x the number of conversions as the 30-second version. Seven elements of a winning YouTube ad. As I've mentioned, the creative behind YouTube is of the utmost importance. Google did a study, and I would agree with this fully, that the success of YouTube is 50 to 80% based on your ad, based on the creative. Then the rest of that success is based on the campaign structure, the bidding structure, the audience strategy, all of those things. So we really have to get the creative right to be successful. But here's the thing, YouTube ads are different. If you're running Facebook ads, you're running TikTok ads, you're running ads on another platform, they're not like YouTube. YouTube is different. One comparison I will make is if you're a fan of the short form infomercials, so like the 1 to 3 minute infomercials that you may see on TV, whether that's for P90X or for the George Foreman grill or something else like that, that can pretty closely align with the type of YouTube ads that we run. So we run YouTube ads that are performance-based, where we're driving sales at a target CPA. And so YouTube kind of feels a little more like TV, and successful YouTube ads are a little more like a short form infomercial. So let's break this down just a little bit. YouTube ads, they got a different structure. They're structured differently than Facebook ads and other ads. They can't just grab attention, right? I've seen some successful Facebook campaigns where the video was really all about stopping someone as they're scrolling, and then the text and the calls to action, that's what really caused someone to click. Well, with YouTube, the ad stands alone. The ad needs to do all that work. It needs to grab attention, convince, motivate, get someone to click. It's got to do all of that work. It needs a different pace than some other campaigns. So while we found that longer videos do a little bit better as YouTube ads as opposed to shorter videos, so we're not seeing a lot of success with, say, 15-second videos on YouTube, it does need to be pretty fast-paced. We need to say enough, it needs to be long enough to be successful, but it can't be boring, it can't drag on. It's gotta be pretty peppy and keep someone's interest throughout the duration of the video. We found the sweet spot is often in that 1.5 to 3 minute range. If you go beyond 3 minutes, Google is saying, hey, we may tax you with a higher cost per thousand. We may make it more expensive for you to run that ad. You can go below 1.5 minutes. We've seen some ads specifically for an automotive brand that we worked with for a long time where their top ad was 45 seconds. But we haven't seen that many ads that are 30 seconds or shorter really drive conversions. So shorter videos are great for engagement and getting views, but they're not as great at driving action. I'll give you a quick comparison. We had a deodorant brand that we worked with, and we had a minute 10 version of an ad and a 30-second version of an ad. The same ad, same actors, same concept, same everything. The one was just 30-second version, the other was a minute version. The 1 minute version got 10x the number of conversions as the 30-second version. So you have to say enough. You have to say enough to get someone to click and take action. While some YouTube ads do great with high production value, and I'll show you some examples that were not cheap to produce and they worked very, very well, still the story behind your ad is more important than production value. You can be successful and not spend a fortune on creative. What you say, how you say it matters, but you don't have to spend a ton to be successful. And the great news is, and I know this will be music to your ears if you're running ads on different social media platforms, good creatives on YouTube, they can have legs. So we had some ads for Boom that we've run for a year, sometimes 2 years, and they keep producing results. And part of that is because the audiences on YouTube are refreshed quite regularly, so they just don't run out. They don't flame out or burn out like social ads. If you find a winning YouTube ad, you can likely ride that horse for months, maybe even years. So with that set up, let's break down the 7 must-have elements of a winning YouTube ad. Now, you don't necessarily have to have all 7, although I recommend that you do, but you do need to get pretty close. So let's break it down. The first thing is you need to think about what is your one thing? Or I like to call it, what is your golden thread that you weave throughout the ad? So as an example, for Boom by Cindy Joseph, their one thing is pro-age cosmetics. And this is the concept of, hey, you don't need to be anti-age. Don't try to look like you did when you were in your 20s. You are strong, you are powerful. This is like the prime of your life. These are powerful years for you. So look your best, but look like you. It's pro-age. A lot of the models have gray hair and they're embracing this stage of life. So pro-age, not anti-age. That's their one thing that's weaved throughout the ad. I really like Grammarly. Over the years, Grammarly has been one of the top YouTube ad spenders. And so their one thing is grammar mistakes are killing your success. And Grammarly, we fix those mistakes as you go, right? Grammar mistakes are a big deal, and we will help solve those for you. It's their one thing. It's weaved throughout all of their ads, all of their videos. So what is your one thing? What is the one thing that after someone watches the ad, you want them to remember or know about your brand or say is a little bit different about what you offer? That's your one thing. Get clear on that before you go to the next step. Number two, and I can't stress the importance of this enough, you need a good hook. With YouTube ads, and primarily what we're running is the pre-roll skippable ad, or sometimes they're mid-roll, kind of in the middle of a video, but they're skippable. However, users do have to watch the first 5 seconds. So that's the moment of truth. And you can probably think of examples where you were served a YouTube ad and your immediate reaction was, come on, man, I was here to watch this other video. I'm not here to watch your ad. But something in those first few seconds caused you to go from hovering over the skip ad button to watching. I've had this happen multiple times, and I'm a YouTube ad guy, right? I was getting ready to click skip, but something in the ad hooked me and stopped me in my tracks. So what is your hook going to be to hook the right audience? Let's break this down. So the first 5 seconds are absolutely critical. Now here is an all-time YouTube ad classic. This is Poo-Pourri. And if you remember, if you've never seen this ad, you probably have. It opens with this petite British lady sitting on a public toilet. She's in a dress. She's very prim and proper. And she says in a perfect British accent, "You would not believe the mother load I just dropped." And you watch that and you think, I don't know what I'm watching right here, but this is crazy, right? So it's a little bit of shock and awe, and then it goes into the pitch of how Poo-Pourri, the spray before you go solution, works, right? And the ad is funny, and it's got the benefits of Poo-Pourri, and it highlights it, and so you're laughing, and there are quick cuts, and it just works. And it went viral, and it launched this brand from nothing to now extreme popularity. You can buy Poo-Pourri at every retail store that you go to, including Walmart. But largely the success of this ad was built on this good hook. It was borderline between shocking and nasty. I do think, as a quick side note, the reason they used the British accent was because that somehow added some class to this girl talking about taking care of business in a public restroom. So really the goal here is in the first 5 seconds, you want to hook the right audience, but it's okay to repel the wrong audience. Because the way this ad format works, if someone skips the ad, you don't pay for that impression. You're only paying for impressions if someone watches the ad or if they click through to your site. So perfectly acceptable to get people who are not going to be interested to skip, then that actually saves you money. So what are some other options for hooks, right? My guess is you're not selling a bathroom product, so you can't fully follow in the footsteps of Poo-Pourri. So what should you do? I think there are a couple of opportunities here. One, you lead with your biggest benefit. Make it very clear right up front, here's our biggest benefit. So here's an example. This is a lady sitting poolside, and the ad opens up with the line, "Did you know you could get gorgeous, flawless legs in a matter of seconds?" And this is an ad for a spray-on tanner that does not come off in the pool and doesn't leave stains and doesn't get on your clothes and things like that. But it leads with the strongest benefit, gorgeous, flawless legs in a matter of seconds. Now, you may see that ad and not believe it. You may see it and be like, meh, is that really possible? But it's often and likely enough to hook you to get you to watch just a little bit more. And that's really the goal of the hook. The hook is to get you to watch a little bit more. The goal of the hook is to make you say, maybe, or to make you say, what is this? I gotta find out more, and then you stick around. And the rest of the video is there to convince you to click and take that next step. You can also lead with the biggest problem you solve. So this is an image from Flex Seal, and I highly recommend you study the Flex Seal ad, but this starts with kind of the traditional infomercial setup where it shows a problem. So it shows a leaky roof, and it opens with the founder of Flex Seal, and he's saying, these repairs will cost thousands of dollars, right? He's got this thick New Jersey accent. And so then it starts with a problem, and it leads into the solution of Flex Seal. For Boom, they could lead with something like, hey, this one stick replaces your entire makeup bag. That's a unique angle. Now maybe you've got my attention. Again, I don't really know if I want it, but you've got my attention. This was a product we helped launch that's in kind of the percussive therapy device category, so competing with products like Theragun and Hyperice. And what we found is as people were researching these products, they were really wondering one of two things, like, do these actually work, and are they worth the money? And so we started the ad with this. It was kind of a shot of a whole bunch of competitors' products. And then we said, hey, have you ever seen a device like this and wondered, do they actually work? And if they do work, do you really have to pay $600 to get one? And then we talk about how this product was way less than that, backed by science, came with an app, all these cool features. But we led with a big question that prospects are asking. One of my favorite pieces of marketing advice is to enter the conversation taking place in your customers' heads. So in this case, for percussive therapy devices, the conversation that was going on there is, do they work? Is it worth the money? Should I really invest in one? And so we tailored the opening of that ad to jump into that conversation and likely drive a click. So that's our hook. You need to spend time on a hook, and if your ad is not working, it's likely the hook that needs to be adjusted. But number 3 is extremely important too, and that's your product demo. So prospects need to see your product in action before they make a purchase, and there's really no excuse to not have a product demonstration, right? This is video. It's easy to show a product in action if you're running video. Now, I'm from Missouri, and Missouri is known as the show me state. And also, as a side note, our state animal is the mule. So apparently we're very stubborn and we only believe something if we see it, right? But you should think about the fact that your customers are like those from Missouri, right? They gotta see it to believe it. So you need to show your product in action, because our initial reaction to most products and most offers is, yeah, probably not, right? We're all skeptical, at least to a certain degree. So show your product in action. And really, we want to see the main use of your product. So if your product is a kitchen appliance, we want to see that appliance working in a kitchen. If your product is an outdoor product, we want to see it outdoor in the elements, doing what it was designed to do. We need to see your product in action. So your product demo, the main thing to get right here is show your product in its natural environment, the way someone's likely going to use it, but show it in action. Now, number 4, this isn't a must, but if you can do this, it's extremely powerful. This is the magical demo, right? This is the demo that goes above and beyond the normal demo. So I'll give you a couple examples. One is Purple Mattress, right? So this was created by the Harmon brothers, brilliant ad campaign. I actually know the guy that ran these initial campaigns. And so, of course, you could show someone sleeping on a bed, and you could show the bed, supporting their pressure points, and they could say things like, hey, I got the best night of sleep ever, and all those things are important. But what they did with this was they said, hey, we're gonna create a test that will wow people, a test that will just make people think, man, how could that possibly be true? And I've never seen a mattress like this. So they created the raw egg test. And this is where they had eggs set on a mattress. They drop a 300-pound sheet of glass onto the bed, and the bed is strong enough to support the weight of the glass, but it's also soft enough to cradle the eggs and keep them from breaking. So it's the raw egg test. And then and this is brilliant marketing as well, the folks at Purple Mattress showed, hey, how do other mattresses handle the raw egg test? So let's drop this glass on other mattresses. And of course, they all just smash and obliterate the eggs. And so they're able to say, hey, nothing is quite like the Purple mattress, right? So they invented this wow demonstration. Now, no one is gonna buy a mattress, go home and put eggs on it and try to run these tests. It's not gonna happen, but this will allow you to say, there is something different about this bed. Now, another example that's maybe not quite as dramatic, but still really cool, is the William Painter sunglasses. So shout out to my buddies at William Painter. I love these glasses. They're extremely durable and strong. There's some demonstrations of course, people wearing sunglasses and looking awesome, but also them running over the glasses and then not breaking, but then also of this, the hook. And this is on their original glasses, and this is actually a bottle opener. So you can pop open a bottle of your favorite beverage. And what was so great, in this ad, it showed James, who's a spokesperson, saying, with William Painter, you can pop bottles and look like a model, right? So he pops a bottle of beer, puts the glasses on, takes a swig. Super fun. It's like one of these little bonuses. That's a magical demo that's maybe not blow your mind, but kind of cool and kind of fun. And if you're gonna spend a lot of money on a pair of glasses, which William Painter glasses are not cheap, you wanna be able to show it off a little bit. You wanna be able to show your buddies that you're hanging out with that, hey, I got glasses that maybe are just a little bit cooler than yours. So the magical demo, you don't have to have it, but if you can, it's extremely powerful. 5, objection busters. So people are gonna have objections when they see your ad, even if there's something inside of them that says, ooh, I really want that. I would like to have that. There's gonna be objections coming up, right? Because we are rational beings, or so we tell ourselves, right? So they see your claims and they think, yeah, but, right? Maybe this is gonna happen. So we've all had this experience where we're like, yeah, I tried that product. I tried this weight loss program. I bought the treadmill and it just sat in my room. I tried this new shirt that was supposed to be different and it was the same as every other shirt, right? Or I tried the sunglasses, I lost them or they broke. So what are the objections that your customer could have? Think about all of those objections. You don't have to overcome all of them, but just know this. If there are persistent objections, especially big objections that remain that your ad doesn't address and overcome, then that user will not take action, right? That disbelief or that objection will be enough to keep them from doing anything. So here's a great example. My buddy Peter Goodwin at Groove Life. I'm actually wearing a Groove Life wedding ring right now. So these are silicone wedding rings, extremely comfortable. And now they're kind of commonplace. I think a lot of people have seen and tried, silicone wedding ring. But especially in the early days, people were like, silicone? I'm used to gold or titanium or something that's not gonna break. But silicone, is it just gonna rip up to shreds and am I gonna lose it and all these things? And so Peter did something very brilliant. He came up with the 94-year no BS guarantee. Now I like 94 years because that's basically a lifetime, right? But it just sounds different and sounds cooler and gets you to pay attention a little bit more. But basically what they said is, hey, you lose it, you break it, it snaps, whatever, we'll replace it, no questions asked, right? So this is a very clever ad. We'll actually show this ad later. This is one that was brilliant, that did not cost a ton for them to produce, but they also knew that, hey, as someone's watching this ad, they may be pretty interested in the product, but one of the lingering objections could be, yeah, but I'm gonna lose it. It's gonna break. Is it gonna be worth it? And so this guarantee really helps bust that objection. Number 6, social proof. Now, I used to work in the TV industry, and I remember hearing years ago, decades ago, people say things like, testimonials, they've run their course. Old hat, nobody pays attention to testimonials anymore. Nobody believes testimonials anymore. But really nothing could be further from the truth. A good ad on YouTube needs at least some element of social proof. Nobody wants to be a pioneer. Nobody wants to be a trailblazer when it comes to buying a new product, right? We all want to know, have other people tried it? What do other people think? What do people like me think about this product? So there's a few ways you can approach social proof. One of the simplest ways is to just show reviews. So this can be a combination of reviews from your website, reviews from Amazon. One of the things we did this for Native and several others, showing things like, hey, over 1,000 5-star reviews, or in the case of native, it's 50 or 100,000 5-star reviews, right? To say, hey, there's so many people that love this product. So showing those reviews. You can even read reviews and extra bonus points if the review is both convincing and a little bit funny. If someone is kind of poking fun at themselves or laughing about the scenario of the product, think Poopery as an example, but then there's also a really positive review, that's even better. What can also work here is credentials or endorsements from somebody who's perceived as an expert in that industry. And then what I love, and if you can get your hands on this, I think you absolutely need to, user-generated content. So actual video from actual customers talking about how much they love your product. If you can get real UGC, and it's believable and it's authentic, and it addresses maybe some objections and talks about some benefits, then that is pure gold to you. And every YouTube ad is made better with social proof, especially user-generated content. Then number 7, the final step, we gotta give someone an offer, right? So if we've done everything right, we've got our one thing that's kind of weaved throughout the video so they know what we're all about, what we stand for, why they should buy our product. We appropriately hooked them to pique their interest and get them to stick around, right? We demonstrated the product and showed it in action and showed it in its natural environment. Maybe we even showed kind of a magical demo that shows like, hey, this is crazy, right? Going back to an example I used before of the old super glue ad where it shows 2 guys carrying in their buddy into a room. They put super glue on the bottom of his feet. They stick him to the ceiling. They hold on for a second. They walk away and he stays on the roof. So some kind of magical demo. Don't have to have it, but if you can, that's great. Then we need our objection busters. Show some proof. Get some warranties in there, some guarantees. We need social proof. And then finally, we need an offer. What do we want the user to do? And what's interesting is if you don't take this step, if you stop short, if you do everything else right, and you don't present an offer or tell someone what to do next, do you know what they will do? They will do nothing. We are creatures of habit, right? And sometimes we're waiting for someone to tell us to do something. And so if you don't lay out that offer or lay out a call to action, most users will just hang out and watch the next video, right? That's why they're on YouTube. They didn't come to YouTube to watch your ad. So even if it's great, if you don't ask them to do something, they're not gonna do it. So what is the offer? What are the next steps you want them to take? Now, you could package something together that's kind of an irresistible offer. We've seen bundles, we've seen discounts, we've seen starter kits. If you sell a consumable product or a subscription-based product, then samples can work or get this whiz-bang starter kit that's a $300 value, you get it for 50 bucks, today to get you started. But you don't have to do that, right? Let's take Boom by Cindy Joseph as an example. They almost never do discounts, right? So the offer is not a discount. The offer there is to learn more. So check out our 5 makeup tips for older women. So you love what we're all about, you love the video. Now click here and check out our 5 makeup tips for older women. So to be really effective here, it's great if you can have a buy now option, but also a learn more option, especially if your product is new and novel and not super cheap, or if it's a longer consideration product where someone's gonna need to evaluate and maybe shop around a little bit before they make a purchase. So those 7 things, once again, we're finding your one thing, getting the right hook, showing a product demo, a magical demo if you can do it, objection busters, social proof, and then laying out a call to action. So your ad does not have to have all 7, but the closer you can get, the more powerful that ad's gonna be, and it's gonna be better whether you run it as a remarketing ad or as a top of funnel ad. Now, I don't want you to get hung up and think you have to have the perfect YouTube ad, because a good ad can work. And I would rather start with a good ad than never start waiting to have the perfect ad. So if we had to prioritize here, I would say this. You really need a good hook. Without the proper hook, nothing else really works. You need a good product demonstration. People believe what they see typically, and they need to see your product in action. And then you're gonna need an offer or a call to action. You've got to ask someone to take action. And then maybe as a 4th thing, throw in some social proof. You're gonna need that. If you have those things, then I think you're ready to launch, especially if you're gonna run remarketing first, which is what we recommend. So start with good, and then we can test and iterate and build to great.